Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley.
And I'm her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi and I want to welcome you to Open to Hope Conversations, the podcast.
We believe that the greatest gift you can give yourself after a loss is hope, using this moment to connect with others who have not only survived but thrived.
So let's get started. Welcome to the Open to Hope show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we have got a great friend who's going to be on the show today. He was always so inspiring because he is a humorist, has written many, many books, wonderful guy. And I am excited because we are going to be talking about the awe factor. That's really an interesting topic here. And we're going to find out from Allen what it is and awe moments. And we're going to have a wonderful discussion because I think in the grief and loss world, many times we really get down, and it's a time for us to kind of build ourselves up a little bit and to take this moment today to find some awe. So you want to introduce our guest, Heidi?
Sure. Our guest today is Allen Klein, and Allen has been a guest on our cable show. So please go and look at that show. He was wonderful. He is a former director of the Life Death Transitions Institute in San Francisco. He is a bereaved spouse. He is an award-winning author of over 30 books, including his latest book, The Awe Factor. He has a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. Welcome to the show, Allen.
It's so great to be back.
Allen, all right. What inspired you to write about awe? And what is awe? What is the awe factor?
What is awe? Well, actually, I want to tie it together with grief and loss because most people would not put that together. But, you know, one of the dictionary definitions of awe is reverence tied with fear and wonder. And when I think about death and dying, you know, on one level, it's peaceful. On the other level, it's frightening. So yes, there is fear in both. And yet I think there's something, I've been with people who are dying. I've interviewed people who have been with people who are dying. And there's something not only peaceful, but it's like, there is something about wonder there. It's like one moment we're breathing and the next moment we're not. And when you think about our being alive right now, it's all like one breath.
Right.
You know, and one of my great teachers, which I'm sure you know the name, Stephen Levine.
Oh, yeah.
Used to ask the audience, are you going to die in an in-breath or an out-breath? And I thought that was an amazing question, but it also got me thinking that it's this one breath that keeps us alive. And it's this one breath that we stop and we're gone.
Yeah. And that then we're in the space between breaths.
Right. And is that not awe, something of awe?
Yes.
You know? So we don't often think about that, but it is true. The other awe thing for me about related to death and dying is, you know, and this may sound weird, but I think death is like nature's way of keeping the world at a certain level. Imagine if no one ever died.
Right.
Just imagine what the world would be like. So on that level, you know, there is awe in us dying, that it's a needed thing in the world. Right. Even though it's sad and we get upset by it.
From a population standpoint and from a motivational standpoint. If I thought I was going to be around forever, I don't think I would be motivated to, you know, have goals and achieve them, because I would think, well, I can do it anytime.
Right. And not enough food and not enough housing. I mean,
there's another factor too here, Alan, that I've been thinking about because my husband passed away last year. And the awe factor in my mind for him is he died of a staph infection, but he had had a lot of surgeries and his body was pretty well gone. And, you know, I believe that his spirit was so big that his body could no longer carry it. So that is kind of an awe factor for me, because the awe of him just leaving that body, because he was just too big for it.
Right. And you mentioned spirit, and at least I believe, and many cultures believe, that the body's no longer here physically, but the spirit lives on forever. And
Absolutely.
and that is so true. And so the person who have died, like your husband, I'm sure you talk about him regularly, you honor him, you tell stories about him, you look at things that he was fond of. And so that, I think that's all part of awe, I define awe as something that gives us goosebumps, or something that takes our breath away, or something we go, oh my God, or, so often with someone who has died, we'll go, oh, they would have said this, or, that's funny because it relates back to them. And so I think that's, if we just stop for a moment and realize that that's an awe moment. And the reason I think awe is so important, and why I wrote the book, and you're going to see a lot more, there's a lot more research on it, is because if we can find more awe in our life, they're talking about how it's keeping us healthier and happier. There's a recent study about two groups of people going out for a walk, only 15 minutes once a week, and they did this for 8 weeks. And one group just went out for a walk. The other group was told to find something that awed them or that amazed them. And they found at the end of the 8 weeks, those people that found awe said they were happier than the other group. The other group was worried about stuff in their life, and they were less focused, all people, on negative emotions and more positive emotions. So there's all kinds of research. It could help with inflammation, that we're more generous when we're looking at something that awes us. Lots of research on it,
Well,
which I
Alan,
talk about in
The
the book.
idea of looking for awe, don't you, Heidi?
I do too, Mom. And I actually had an aha moment, which I didn't share when you first logged in, Alan, because when I saw your glasses, I thought my dad would love those glasses.
Oh, great. Oh,
That is
yeah.
true. He would. Those are the kind he wore. I had two moments today, which is really, we find dimes. We have been finding dimes, and I mean a lot of dimes, and in weird places. So today I'm getting ready to take a trip. And today I went to my closet, there was a dime on the floor. Okay. So I said to my partner, you got to come and see this. And then I photographed it and I Snapchat it to my family, my grandkids and everybody, and they Snapchat them to me. So then I walk into town today, I go into Starbucks and I pay for my tea, and there's a dime on the floor again on the ground at Starbucks. I said to this woman, I had to say it to somebody, this clerk there, I said, do you see this dime that's on the floor? I said, I get sent those dimes by my son who passed away years ago, and now my husband, and I figure I've got two. So they're both in there chipping in on the trip today. So, I mean, those are awe moments for me. So.
Right. And my wife and I had a great marriage, wonderful, funny, all the time, laughing. And the one thing that really came between us was money. She'd always want to spend it and I would always make it. But I find so much money, like you said, it's from your son. 2 years ago, pre-COVID, I found $100 bill on the street.
And now, how often does that happen?
Wow.
And I find money nearly every day. And people say, how do you find that money? And one of the things, and this is funny, it's like I put out my intention sometime to find money. And I told a friend, I'm going to find a quarter today. And he said, you're crazy. I said, I don't want to find a dime, a nickel. I want to find a quarter. And he said, you're nuts. So I didn't find a quarter that day, actually. The next morning, walking my dog, I found a quarter.
Wow.
And he said, you're crazy. And he said, well, you're nuts. And then I saw him a week later and he said, put your hand out. And he gave me a penny. And I said, what is this? He said, One day I went outside and I thought, I'm going to try Alan's trick. I want to find a penny. And he found a penny.
That's
So
funny.
actually that's how do you get more all your life? Intention. Put out intention of finding awe, and you will find it. I took a class pre-COVID on it was called Wonder Hunt. And every day they gave you a little hint of something to go and find. And that day was to find everything that was heart-shaped.
Oh,
And
cool.
I had planted, what was it, morning glories around my front gate, never noticing until that day that the leaves were all heart-shaped. And the
Wow.
only
Wow.
reason I saw it is because I put my intention out to find it.
You know, some people don't want to. I was recently with a woman, I went to a widows conference, Michelle Fernandez in San Diego. She has a fabulous organization called Soaring Spirits. And another lady went with me, and I said, I was talking about finding dimes and some things, and I'm saying, well, do you ever get anything from your husband? And she said, oh, no, 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 nothing, never, 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 never. And I'm like, it's obvious that she doesn't really want to put that intention out. It's too
Right.
scary, or I don't know why. But yeah.
Yeah, this is another funny story. I had a cousin who'd always, you're always finding money. And she said, I'm never finding money. And she was here visiting. She's from the East Coast, and went for a walk with the dog. And I dropped a dollar bill before she got to that spot just to see if she would find it. She did not see it. So I run over and I pick it up. I said, look, I found a dollar. And she said, you're always finding money. I never find money.
So I know one of the things you say, you talk about awakening prescriptions, slow down, right?
Right.
Talk
So
about
yeah.
those things.
Yeah, slowing down, we're all on our cell phones these days. We don't even look at around us. There is all around us. Just open your eyes, and look for it, and look closer. That's one of the hints. Sometimes we don't see it because we don't look closer. So I had a iris blooming in my garden that I thought was really awesome. So I took a picture of it, and
Uh-huh.
I keep it on my desk near me. I mean, look how awesome this is, the
Yeah.
colors, the shapes. And one of the researchers, after I did this, one of the researchers I found, if you have a photo of something that awed you in the past, like the Grand Canyon or something, keep that near you where you see it, because you'll be awed when you look just at the photo. You don't have to go back to the Grand Canyon.
I know Heidi's big on animals and putting them, on your cell phone saver or whatever, funny pictures of animals.
Well, the research shows, as you're saying, Alan, that when you look at pictures of animals, it makes us feel better. So,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always telling people, put pictures of animals on your phone so that if you're having a bad day or a bad moment, you'll feel better.
Yeah, and people, on Facebook posting their cats and dogs. You have a picture. Yeah, here, right in front of me. I forgot about this one. This is my dog when it was a puppy, and it's just like, it kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
sings to my heart, when I just look at this picture.
Yes.
So talk about miracles and mystery.
Well, and back to death and dying and all, death is a mystery. We don't know what happens afterwards. No one has come back and told us. I remember when my wife was dying, and, I've told the story about her death when she was 34. But I noticed in her journal, she wrote, like, death is a mystery. And even though I don't want to die, I'm finally going to find out what this is all about.
Right.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So there's so many levels connecting awe to death and dying, I think, that we don't think about.
Mhm, mhm. I love the idea in your book that you say, when you least expect it,
Right. Oh my God. I've had so many moments, like walking several years ago, walking in Yosemite going up to Vernal Falls. There's a path going up and one coming down, and at one point they're kind of right near each other. And I'm going near the top, and someone's coming down. They yell over to me, "Allen." And I look and I don't recognize the person. He said, "I'm John. I was an apprentice of yours in summer stock when you were a designer 40 years ago."
Wow.
And
he's still
some people would think that's coincidence, but you just said, wow. And anytime you can say, wow, find wow in something, I think that's an awe experience. And in fact, I've taken the word awe, AWE, and come up with an acronym, which is a wow experience.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah. I find, do you meditate? I don't know. I find that when I meditate, I get more wow experiences. For some reason, I just go out for a walk after meditating and I just see all these fabulous flowers and colors, and all of a sudden everything kind of gets enhanced.
Yeah. Well, I think you touched on this. You pay more attention to the world around you after you've meditated, probably than if you did not. Yeah, I'm just guessing. I don't know research on that, but it seems to me you're more present to what's around you, to your world.
And putting away the cell phones and whatever.
Want to talk about, one of the short stories in the book that I really wowed me was three prisoners were coming out of prison, and an interviewer was there on the radio interviewing them, and he asked them, what are you looking forward to when you get out of prison? And one said, "I'm looking forward to being with my family. I haven't seen them in years." That seemed, like a natural answer. The second one said, "I love baseball. I have not been to a live baseball game in years. I'm looking forward to that." And the third one said, "I'm looking forward to opening the refrigerator." And I thought, I open the refrigerator several times a day. That's not an awe moment for me. But I realized for him, he hadn't opened a refrigerator to get a glass of milk or fruit or something. He could not make his own lunch, open the refrigerator to get stuff from so many years. Just opening the refrigerator was an awe moment for him.
Awesome. If I want a great laugh, which one of your books should I get?
Oh my God. Well, my favorite, I don't know about you. You've had many children. I only have one, but my first book is always like the one I really love, and that's The Healing Power of Humor. And there are lots of funny stories in there too.
It's a great book. And now, how do we get your awe book?
It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's in Kindle. It's in audio. Go and
awesome.
Look,
now, do you have a website you want us to go to?
Sure. www.allenklein.com. Spell Allen Klein correctly. ALLENKLEIN.com.
And may I say that if you're looking for a great speaker, a great guy, one that will lift your spirits and give you that moment, it's Allen.
Thank you. You are such a blessing. Thank you. Both of you.
Thank you, Allen. Thank you for bringing humor and awe to so many people. And you've inspired me, because after the show, I'm going to walk over to Central Park and I am going to look for awe.
All right. Give my regards to New York City, my hometown.
I will, Allen.
Thank you.
Thank everybody for joining us on this show today. And Heidi and I will hope that you'll visit us at opentohope.com. And we always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
I'm Dr. Heidi Horsley. You have been listening to Open to Hope, the podcast. You can follow Open to Hope on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more, visit us at opentohope.com and go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe.
I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley. Join us again next week for another Open to Hope conversation, where we invite you to lean on our hope until you find your own.